Literally, the secret at winning at life and getting every single thing that you've ever wanted is to start taking control over your life and stop giving other people that control. The moment that you get out of reaction mode and you get out of the victim mindset of, oh, why is this all happening to me? And you start to actually blame yourself and be like, wait, I have the power to literally shift everything in my life. That is how you win. This is exactly what I'm gonna teach you guys in today's video. The first shift that you're gonna make is you're gonna stop having a victim mindset and you're gonna stop blaming other people for your emotions and reactions and how you've been currently showing up in this game of life. So in the past, before I really learned how to take control over my life, I was the same way. I have borderline personality disorder, and so I feel things very intensely. So it's like when I was in my relationship with my ex, it was like every single thing that he said or did had me in reaction mode. I was blowing up from 0 to 100 real fast, and I always blamed him for my reactions, and I always blamed him for me having intense emotions. I remember we would literally fight all the time. Every single day we would fight. And it's not like he was saying anything crazy. I was just blowing up, because that's what happens when you have untreated BPD. You take out your emotions on others. You're more prone to fighting with overs over literally nothing. But because I felt that way specifically with him, I was quick to blame him for how I felt. And so that resulted in me screaming and crying and having breakdowns almost every single day, because I essentially wanted him to make me feel better. Whenever I was upset, whenever we were fighting, I gave up my control and my power onto him, because I was like, no, it's your job to make me feel better. Like, you're the one who caused me to feel this way, so you need to be the one to make it feel better. And because I was outsourcing that sense of control, that sense of fulfillment and peace, I wanted him to make me feel at peace. And I wasn't giving that to myself. So because I was relying on him, he wasn't able to meet up to my expectations. So the cycle repeated over and over and over again. Crying, screaming, breaking down every single day for like 2 years. There have literally been times when I was in the city and I had to stop everything I'm doing and just relax and calm down, because I was having anxiety, because I was crying so much and I was just crying my eyes out on the corner of the street, feeling anxious, because I expected him to, again, make me feel better. And when he wouldn't do that, I would just get so anxious. I would feel depressed. I started even having physical symptoms, like I had chest pain, I couldn't breathe, everything was spinning, until I finally realized I was the only one responsible for how I've been feeling for the past 2 years. And the truth is that nobody causes you to feel any way. Nobody can force you or make you to feel a certain way. If you feel a certain way, you literally have the power to instantly change how you feel in a second. You have the power to literally stop and just think about happy thoughts, or stop and literally just shift how you're feeling. And more importantly, if you're not able to really shift how you're feeling in the moment, you most certainly can control how you react to the situation. So just because your partner's making you feel anxious and nervous or annoyed, you don't have to blow up on that person. Being very intentional about what you're doing and being very intentional about sticking to your values, sticking to how you want the relationship to show up, how you want yourself to show up in this game of life. That's what's gonna create real change. That's what's gonna make you have real control over yourself and over your life. The second thing that I did to start taking control over my life is that I started forgiving myself and other people who have hurt me. I used to walk around with all of this resentment and anger from all of the things that my ex and other people, my family, my friends, everyone that's hurt me, I was just carrying all of that baggage around, and I wouldn't let it go because I felt so hurt and I felt so angry. But when you're holding on to all of that anger and all of that resentment, that starts showing up in multiple areas of your life. So then I was just walking around like this angry person because I couldn't let anything go. I couldn't even make room for new opportunities because I was still stuck in the past. I was still holding on to past resentment and past anger. And so that was controlling my life. And I just remember that I just felt like I had all of this darkness in me. I was literally suffering, guys. Like, I'm telling you, it was so bad. Like, I would literally just cry myself to sleep. I was burnt out. I couldn't be consistent in what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. I would literally get burnt out every single weekend. I would be so burnt out. I would literally just be in my bed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, would be exhausted in my bed because I was so tired. I was so exhausted. I was so burnt out. And I wasn't able to really enjoy the things I was doing. I wasn't able to enjoy hanging out with friends. I wasn't able to enjoy the 2 internships that I had and the work I was doing. I just felt like everything was a constant struggle. And it's when I learned to really forgive myself for hurting others, but also forgive other people for hurting me. That was truly when I felt like I broke through. I broke through that darkness. I was able to feel lighter. I felt like I was myself again. I felt like I didn't have this like burden of pain anymore. I just chose to let it go. I chose to not let the past resentment affect my life, to control my life anymore. I choose to not let past circumstances define who I am today. The third thing that I did to take control over my life is I was able to control the relationships that I had. I've always had this belief that it takes 2 people to change a relationship. I've always believed that if the other person didn't change right away, then that means I had to cut them off because they would keep hurting me over and over. So for example, my mom and I went to Texas together in May, and during the trip, we just kept arguing, right? And at first we were arguing because she was kind of just blowing up over everything. So she became annoyed at me very quickly. She would raise her voice at me. And I'm very sensitive to fighting, and I'm very sensitive to people raising their voices or screaming at me. So I took great offense to that. And I would constantly tell her like, hey, stop, hey, stop. And so she wouldn't stop because she didn't know how to. But because she kept breaking my boundaries and she wouldn't stop when I told her to, I saw that as a personal attack on me. And I saw that as, oh, she doesn't want to change, so our relationship is doomed forever. So I was kind of putting the faith of our relationship onto her hands. Until I started to look in the mirror and I realized, how am I reacting when she gets annoyed with me, when she slightly raises her voice? And then I realized that we would start fighting and the situation would escalate because I also chose to snap back at her too. And then she would snap back at me, and there would be this ongoing battle between the 2 of us. So then I thought to myself, okay, how can I show up differently in this relationship? And I realized that every single time I give in to her being annoyed at me or give in to her raising her voice at me slightly, that's escalating the fight. So I thought to myself, what if I just don't give in? Like, what if I just brush it off and continue on with my day? Because she can't be reactive if there's nothing to react to, right? And I know this could be kind of draining and exhausting. So I want you to kind of think about the most important relationships in your life. Because if you really want the relationship to change, it is going to take a lot of time and effort. And that person, they won't even change right away. You have to keep showing up for them. You have to continue showing up differently. So for example, the relationship with my mom didn't change overnight. I had to keep showing up in the way I wanted the relationship to show up. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time and energy to not be reactive and to not give into those feelings of wanting to blow up on the other person. But once you keep showing up for the other person as the most loving and joyful person that there is, eventually they'll have no choice but to match you where you're at. Energy is so contagious. Energy is currency. Start to treat people the way that you want the relationship to turn out as. Start treating people the way that you want them to also treat you. Because eventually, they have no choice but to treat you the exact same way that you're treating them. So as a result of me choosing love and choosing to be joyful around my mom, even when she felt annoyed with me or she was raising her voice slightly, and when I chose to not also be reactive, literally everything shifted. We literally went back to Texas a couple months later over the summer, and we had the most amazing trip together. It was so amazing that literally I flew back to New York, was in New York for 2 days, and made the decision to just fly back down to Texas because my mom was staying there at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I had the most amazing time. Let's do it all over again. And this was such a different outcome from the first trip that we had because I chose to show up differently. I chose that I want the relationship to be different. So I became different. If you want a different result or outcome, you have to do things differently. The second example that I have of a relationship that I completely shifted was the relationship with my dad. So I grew up without my dad. My mom was a single mom. I knew who my dad was, but I just never cared to have a relationship with him, right? So I just never had that relationship. However, over the summer, he reached out to me on LinkedIn, out of all platforms. He would always kind of stalk me on Instagram and TikTok, but I would always block him because I'm like, you're weird, whatever. I don't care to have a relationship with you. I don't care to talk to you, right? But then he got LinkedIn Premium and he was able to message me. I had a lot of resentment for my dad because he wasn't there and he treated my mom really bad when they were together. So naturally, I just never wanted to talk to him and I just had all this pent-up anger for what he did in the past. But then over the summer, when my dad reached out to me and he would keep reaching out over and over and over again, then I started to realize, okay, maybe he does actually care about me. Maybe he really does want to actually mend this relationship with me. And so I made a choice here. The first choice I could have made was, oh my gosh, he's hurt me in the past. He hurt my mom. I hate him. I hate what he did to us. So I'm just gonna hold on to all of that past anger, all of that past resentment. I'm gonna hold on to everything that happened in the past and I'm never gonna talk to him ever again. Or the second choice that I actually did make is, you know what? He did F up in the past, right? He didn't treat my mom good. He wasn't there for me for my whole life pretty much. But you know what? I choose to forgive. I choose to forgive because I don't want to hold on to all of this hurt. I don't want to hold on to whatever's happened in the past. It's clear to me that he is willing to have a relationship with me and that he loves and cares about me. So really, what's stopping me from having a great relationship with him and us getting to know each other is me. I'm the only one who's stopping myself. And so I chose to be vulnerable and I chose to lean into this relationship. So I literally started to call him weekly. We would literally have weekly calls. And I was literally able to change the whole relationship with my dad. I literally went from not knowing him at all to us literally having an amazing, loving, caring, authentic relationship now. It is just so crazy how much your life could literally change in an instant when you decide to shift. When you decide to be the one in control, everything changes. When you decide that past events, past circumstances, past hurt, resentment, anything that anyone has ever done to hurt you, all of that, they don't control you anymore. Literally, you are the only person who is in control of yourself, in control of your life, in control of how you choose to show up. Are you gonna choose to still be this angry person, mad at the world, victim mindset, oh, why me? Or are you gonna choose the life that you've always wanted, the relationships you've always wanted to have, mending past relationships also, being able to be finally free of everything that has happened to you in your life. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my first ever YouTube video and see you guys soon. Bye. Mwah.